So I decided to do this live in a 3-part series, 4-part series, somewhere around there, depending on what information I can cram into these short videos for you so that you can kind of grasp the idea of how to mud and tape. Now, long story short, so these are the tools we're going to be using. So I got a pan for mixing my material in. I have a cat's claw. I'm not going to pull the screws, I'm just going to push behind and use the screw gun to either set or take out screws. I have my 6-inch knife. I got an actual Olfa knife, a belt to carry a few things, which is not much. A zippy tool, first time for this even being in a video on mudding, because I've never used it, but I figured I have a couple spots that I need to trim up and that would be an ideal tool. Got a bucket of water and we got Confil right in here with a cup that we use to put Confil in. So these are the steps that I do to make sure that my work turns out good. So one of the things I want to mention is that, so we've got, I'm going to just point this out before I put everything on. We've got, these are called butt joints, where the two factory edges run into each other. This is a factory bevel joint. Right, so if you look down, you can see that there's a gap specifically made in the drywall for tape to sit, right? So we got our butt joints, we got our factory bevel joints, we got our corners, another corner, we got everything screwed off, and a couple spots that need to be adjusted. So we can put in this stuff called tearaway strip. And tearaway strip allows you to finish at an edge of something nice and cleanly where you can butt it against. And this is what we're going to use for this ceiling. Now, if you had watched any of the other videos of recent, where we had actually cut the bevel off the one that's touching the ceiling. Sorry. I guess I'm filming this way. On the one that's touching the ceiling. So if the drywall is hitting the ceiling, you want this to be a nice 90 for when you put your mud and tape in. I don't like using butt joints. Bevel joints in my mudding and taping corners. It's usually just better to cut them off if you can. But if you're creating more work for yourself, then don't. So for now, we're going to show you the process of what I do, because people are going to be going, oh, that's not how I do it. I've been doing this for 50 years and all this other bullshit, right? Whatever. Watch the channel, don't watch the channel. It doesn't matter to me. This is how I do it. So I'm going to show you guys couple tricks that I've learned over the years that I use to kind of speed up the process, because if you're doing this in a production frame of mind, then these are some steps you can use to cut a few corners and still get the quality out of it. Okay, so first and foremost, let's get our material ready. Let's adjust this camera. There we go. Basically, just gonna get ready to prep any surface that needs to be prepped. You always want to prep your surface. I had somebody tell me this is the most useless tool belt they've ever seen, and that's fine. They don't like doing this job. They don't like doing this job, so their opinion doesn't matter, because I do it. I want to do it the most comfortable way, the fastest way. And even if all I'm doing at this moment, only putting one knife in, because that's the only one you're going to need for this, is a 6-inch knife. And sorry, wrong. And a 2-inch knife. Alright? So this one I can't put in my pouch, but what we're going to do is we're going to go around checking the surface. Okay, now there's a couple mistakes I made, but I can show you how to unmake them. So what you can do, if maybe you can't see properly or whatnot, you run your knife over the screws, and if you hear this, oh, what's that? That's a screw sticking out right there. So do I have anywhere else? No. So I'm not going to go through the whole wall doing that because I can actually see. But I want you to also take notice is that when you are doing your drywall, I'm going to show you this right now. When you are doing your drywall, you see your screws? You see how that's almost borderline too much, right? Your screws should be screwed in. This is a perfect example. See how it's just sunk in enough where the paper's not broken? That's what you want. This, you can see that the paper is broken. Technically, I could even tell just by putting my knife over the screw, and you could see that it's pretty deep. This one is a perfect example of just enough depth for the screw to be set. Obviously, that one sticks out, makes that noise. You're never going to cover that. You got to remove that. So I don't do, everyone makes mistakes. So I'm going to show you how to correct them. I'm going to show you how to do it properly and efficiently where you're not going to get cracks. Everything's going to work out good. We know that this is a mobile home because I've been making videos for the past couple months on working on the mobile home. So there's some things I'm going to be doing here that I wouldn't normally do, like putting mesh tape on the seam. Because paper is strong, but mesh is also very strong. So the compound we're using here, this Confill, is a fibrous mesh kind of mudding stuff. And it becomes rock hard once it's on. And it's easy sandable, but it basically has no shrinking. It has all kinds of other properties, which we're going to use for filling gaps. Right? Like, I couldn't get this perfect just because of the way it was. There's some gaps in here. Most tapers would just fill it with mud, right? But mud shrinks. So in a production field, it's probably faster to fill it with mud, but that mud's not going to dry till later. Confill will dry in about like 30 minutes. That's one of the reasons why I use it a lot, because I usually have to do several other things, and during that time I can actually do something else while I'm waiting for it to dry, come back, throw another coat on. I could possibly put like 2 or 3 coats on today and not have to mess around too much. So here we are. I'm gonna start out the process. I'm gonna show you what I'm doing, and then from there we'll just keep going. We got Don P5J. He's a butcher. Thank you. Yes. You can watch the butcher work if you so choose, Don. So again, if a screw's sticking out, you want to pull it. You don't technically need this, but I just want to just ease it out. It's better to ease it out than to rip it out, because then all that paper's going to come up. So there's one. Will I need it for everything? No. So I'll put that down. Another thing you can use is your knife. So you can take your knife and just kind of wedge it out too. That's another way. Because you're giving it a surface to kind of unscrew itself. So now that we've got those screws out, that's good, that's good. Oh, sticking out just slightly here. So just, because it's not going to hide if you don't push it. So like there's another one. Should probably just set the drill on. That's all good, that's all good, that's all good. Okay, since we just took those screws out, and there's really not much left to take out, I'm going to kind of give you a little angle on the wall here so you can see what we're doing. So you got the surface with the screw. Now, because this is a butt joint, it's going to cover, it's not going to matter, but I'm going to do it anyways. I just put the edge of the butt of my knife, and I got a screw indentation here. Look, I'll show you like this. So now we have that indented. This one's pretty good, but you see how that paper's just sticking up there? Well, if you put that like that, right? If I make a crease, then mud's gonna have to cover it, right? Here's another one. Indent it, then mud's gonna have to fill it. So any imperfections, you do that too. So I don't know if you can see this. Just 1 second. I got my cord hooked up here, not allowing me. So we've got a 1/4 inch gap of mud. We got this. You see this indentation here. So what we can do is I need to invest in a camera that I can just wear so I can use both my hands and still record. So that was bumped out, right? Now it's not. We're gonna fill it with Confill. Do we have anything else? These are minor things too. Like you see that? Right? You could just literally take your mudding knife, and mine's sharp enough to cut it, but you can also just use a knife. Oh, we're not trying to create more work. We're gonna butcher it. Holy fuck. Why does this paper just keep going? Let's cut it off. There. You gotta love it, eh? When you're on camera, just the silliest stuff happens. Okay, so we've cut that divot out. I don't think there's any more in that corner. Everything looks pretty good, right? So what else do we got here? Oh, we got a couple screws here. So we're gonna take those out too.
Hello? Like I'm gonna ask if you could bring that thing over.
Yeah, not right now. In a little bit. All right, so I'm gonna move this bench. I don't need it. It's just in the way. So let's just make sure you guys get that angle too. You guys can see that. All right, perfect. So. Maybe we can sink that. Well, for whatever reason. That one's good. paper dent right there. I don't know if you can see that. Yeah. So this paper dent, what I do is just and I indent the drywall. So I got this gouge over here. See these gouges? Right, I'll do the same thing. I'll just scrape off any paper that's sticking up or cut it out. And then I will gouge. I'll gouge the drywall. Create an indentation where needed to kind of put everything below the surface here. Alright, this one I could just indent that too. That's good. That's good. That's good. And it looks like everything up top looks good. Right, a screw indentation here. And we got another screw sticking out up here in this corner here. Oh, there are a couple. Man, it just missed too. So sometimes if it just missed, what I'll do is I'll unscrew the screw. And then I'll just take it and put it back in the same hole and just come from a little bit more of an angle. And see, now I caught the stud. This screw's sticking out a little bit more. I'll show you. Oh, as the phone almost falls to its death. So, we got something like that, right? See that there? That should get driven in a little bit more. Everything else is pretty good there. All the way up. Oh. This screw right here, sticking out a little bit. You can always check with your knife to make sure, right? So I'm going to show you this process. I already know that it's sticking out, but you hear that sound? So we know that's sticking out. All right. So here's what I'm going to do. Now we've got, put that screw in. Now one is just, screwdriver's better, because I find if you don't have good control with the screw gun, you're just going to drive it in, wreck the paper, do more damage than you need to. So now all that's cut out. I have a little bit of plastic sticking out of the corner. Let's get rid of that. Get rid of that. Anything that will protrude. We even got some paint. Now I got this plastic up here. Take that, throw that in the garbage. Cut off any plastic. That could be in your way, causing you headaches in the future. throw this in the garbage. Okay, now I think we got all the plastic cut off all the way through. All right, we're good. Now I'm gonna show you how I mix my Confil. Okay, don't need the flex drill no more. We won't need this right now because while the Confil is drying, we're gonna put some of this Confil on the wall, and I just saw something sticking out here. Alright, so I'll take my pen, and I got my cup for the Confil. I usually want to have like a little, this might even be too much, that much water. I don't know if you can see that. Which is like maybe a quarter, half a cup kind of thing. And so what you're going to do is I like to have the water in first because then it's easier to mix. And I just sprinkle that into the pan. This is where that smaller knife is going to come in. So I just experiment with it where I know how to mix the batch for what I need. This is probably going to be more than enough actually. See, I have too much water. It's way too liquidy. But that's why I have this knife. Is to just mix it back and forth to break up any clumps, anything that is going to. So I probably had just enough. You can stir it, whatever you want. Just get the product to become nice and smooth. Not runny, smooth. I'm gonna do a little bit more. So like if you're using a cup of this, you probably want like to use like that much water. But I know I got gaps to fill, and that's the whole purpose of this. And because of me already doing this to fill gaps, because let's say I put the paper tape in that corner that's got a 1/4 inch gap with the mud and everything, it's going to take all day for that to dry. So if you do it in stages where realistically the best rule of thumb is just use less water in the beginning, and if for instance the product's dry, just add more water. This way you're not wasting compound or anything. See, now this is a pretty good consistency because as I work this, it's gonna dry out, right? So I just want to make sure I get all the spots. I think I can even almost put all this stuff away. I'm gonna guess that I have enough material. Okay. So let's do a close-up because we're right in this corner. Pretty much not going to need this Okay. See how there's a gap in that corner? This is what you can start with. One second, I'm trying to adjust the camera. Badass drywaller. You're watching it, maybe, I don't know if you're a taper. Who knows? I do drywall and taping, so. Once you learn to do mudding, then you do drywall better. So I'll take my material out of the pan like so, and then I'll fill all the gaps in the corners. This way, when I'm going to put my paper tape in, I have a nice firm corner, and I'm going to use less compound. Sure, some people are going to say, oh, this is a waste of time, all this stuff, right? Because they're professionals, whatever. Everyone has a way of doing it. But I don't like sanding, and I like my work to look good when I'm done. So just keep filling it until you don't see a hole, right? And I usually take my knife to chase away any like raised edges. You don't have to, because once it's dry you can scrape it off. Yeah, I get it, right? Everyone knows. And I'm just gonna do this all the way up the corner. I want to spot my pan close to me. So I can fill that. Now, is me filling that small gap overkill? Yes, it is. But I'm here already, so why not make my job easier right off the hop, right? So next, what we're going to do, because this is nice wet compound, we're going to hit our screws. I'm going to bring you guys farther back because I'm just gonna go with filling the screws. So that way I can just move with it. So we're going to just close the screws. When you wipe it off, you don't want to be doing this. You don't want to be... No, because then you cause all kinds of extra work for yourself. You want to wipe that off so you see nothing on there. All you see is that the screw is filled. If it's not filled, you fill it. That's the whole point of this. So now I'm going to the bottom. See how I got all that like little bit of crap there? I don't know if the camera's picking that up. But clean it. Less work, right? Less work for later. Most people will sit and sand their first coat. It makes no sense. Why would you sand? You don't have to sand the rough shit off. You can literally use your knife to scrape it off. So make your life easier. Sometimes it's good to go both directions because the mud will get pulled out of the screw holes. So any imperfections I'm filling right now. So we had done these gouges, right? Let me give you a better view on the gouges. Because right now, you see them as that, right? So this is what we're going to do. We're doing our screw holes as usual. Done. Oh my God, we're here. See, I left that. Wipe it. Now, the gouges are filled. Not finished, filled. They're filled, and they're not going to shrink either. I'm going to wipe this direction too. Let's hit these bottom screw holes. The screw hole is not fully filled. It's right by the butt joint, so it really doesn't matter, but I just do it anyways. It's a habit. You can't fuck up if you just have good habits, right? And I don't care if Confil falls on the floor because I can always clean it. Keep using it. Look at this. So I missed a screw, and this is what happens. See that screw right there? See how it's sticking out? You don't want that. So grab the drill. Grab the drill because we don't have a screwdriver on us. Just give that a little sink, right? Nothing too crazy. Just sink it up. So, we've synced it up. And, you know what's funny? Just so happens above it, it's not set properly either. So look, this one above it needs a little bit, needs to go in a little bit more. So I'm gonna quickly just tap that in. Just enough. Enough to cover. And here's the beauty of Confil. It's already drying. So I'll go over the screws first because as I pick up like dust and stuff, it's gonna bind into the mud. So here we are, another set of screws. So now you're gonna notice that I'm not doing these screws in the middle. It doesn't need to happen. It doesn't need to, because there's gonna be paper tape there. So here we go. We're gonna do this bottom part. I didn't do these yet. The closer your pan is to the wall, the easier it is to catch any mud falling, so you can keep your job site nice and clean. That one was borderline sticking out. Fix it. Fix it. Now the beauty of this is Confil won't shrink. Oh, I got another borderline screw at the top here. Right there. You can even see it on the camera. Slightly. Just a little bit. So the beauty of the Confil is it's going to bond really nicely to that what do you call it? The drywall. I don't drink any beer. So this is, I have to mix. Man, it's terrible that I have to mix I'm gonna have to mix. This is not gonna fit all of this. So regardless, let's just pack it because this is starting to dry. Might have to move this a little bit over more so you get a better view. I thought I mixed the perfect amount, but I literally used it down to the last drop. And you really shouldn't reuse cornflour that's already dried. There's no point. So see, that corner is filled perfectly. And I try to make it as smooth as possible. Got a little bit more here. That's already starting to dry. So next we're going to mix more Confil. Let's go here. Let's do it again. I'm gonna adjust the camera a little bit here. Like I said, there's going to be lots of people in the comments who are going to, oh, you're doing it backwards, you're wrong, all that kind of stuff, right? All that kind of stuff. So, this is forwards. Let's get rid of this no good clump. I'm going to try to mix the perfect amount here. That's pretty close. Let's do that. I might have a bit left over, so I'm going to just add very little, since Confil does not need a lot of water. That might almost be perfect here. So now, and I learned by doing it this way. You see how it's all clumpy? This way you don't make too much. You just keep adding water until you can get it smooth enough, right? It's kind of deceiving in the moment, but as you start mixing it. See, I'm showing you several ways of mixing this stuff. The first time I had the water in, thinking I had too much Confil. That's probably perfect, actually. Oh, look. Let's see how many of you in the comments think I mixed enough. Let's put a thumbs up or a thumbs down. I mixed enough, thumbs up. I didn't mix enough, thumbs down. Let's see if we can get the audience interacting in this. So I want to mix it good. So do you think I mixed enough to fill that crack over there and the rest of these screws leave a thumbs up for I mixed enough, or a thumbs down that I didn't mix enough. Okay. So first, because it's already wet, I'm going to hit these screws. Because it's nice and smooth, and you're gonna get easier application at this point. So there's like a rock. Wow, where did this rock come from? So all the screws are done. I've got all the surface face screws. Now we're going to use the rest of this confill to fill up this cavity. Got some screws really close to the corner. I'll just fill those ones. And my milk crate. It's not CSA approved, but you know what? It's perfect to sit on. Just kidding. Just kidding. I actually brought it in the corner just to make sure. I could use There's literally nothing left. I can just use it to fill. So I'm just using the excess. Why throw it away if I can use it? So there's like some of the paint chips got torn because they never primered. Whoever did it before never primered the wall and just painted it, right? So anywhere where the mud was, the paint peeled away, and basically the mud from this corner comes all the way out to here. So the paint stuck on this side, but not where the mud was. I actually have paint chips that I might end up, you know, giving it to some lucky, members. So I'm just gonna use whatever I got because I'm not gonna throw it away. And that's all the Confill installed on the wall, no problem. All right. So we're done with the Confill aspect. Where I got the drywall from, they have pigeons, and the pigeons are crapped on the wall. So now we're done with the drywall concept. Now we're done with the Confill filling concept. Everything's filled. Everything's good. And you can basically let it start drying, or you can start the next step. So the next step, I'm gonna go grab the box of yellow mud that we're gonna need, because I was actually gonna break this up into several videos, but I'm gonna actually keep it rolling. And we're just going to put paper going in on the beveled end buttons. Hey there. Alright, so here's our box mud. This is yellow taping mud. A lot of people are going to be like, well, what do the colors mean, right? Well, the colors mean different finishing states. One's easier than the other, one's nicer and smoother than the other. There's a lot of different forms. So I'm putting this Confill away. We're done. I've changed the pan now completely. Let's see if we can get a view. I'm going to bring the box onto the bench. Now there's several ways of doing it, but for a lack of one of my buckets that I use this stuff in is kind of dirty because I didn't the mud in it went bad. So this particular product is already in a mixed state, and because all we're doing is we are what do you call it? Because we are already, I don't need that knife anymore actually. I'm going to clean my knife with the water I already have because I have Confil on. Does it matter? Not really, but that's because I'm anal when it comes to that kind of mentality stuff, right? So this is my paper roll. And now what we're going to do is we're going to just open this up. And we're literally just going to scoop some in the pan. I usually mix it, but given time constraints and I want this stuff so I can put several coats on, we're not going to mix it. We're just putting it straight into the pan from the box. And a lot of guys are going to be, oh, that's not how I would do it. Yeah, no, I know. I said because of time constraints. The only reason why you're mixing is to get the air out and to get it smooth. You wipe this on a few times, and you're going to already have a smoother product. So now, I'm going to use two types of tape. One is a fibrous tape, and the other one isn't. And there's probably wondering, why would I use two? Just to show you guys, for one. So, we're going to start here. And this is why I didn't mix it. So I'm just going to, same thing, when we were doing the mudding of the Confil on the wall. Now you can use a mechanical taper, you can use lots of things. We put it on, but first we're going to do butt joints. I know this is the ADD version. That's how I always do my mud. Is I do all the butt joints first. Just wanted to fill those screws nicely. Why? So I'm going to use paper on this butt because there's so many screws holding it, less likely for it to tear. And I want it so that it overlaps the tape that's it's going to go into the bevel. All right, so you move that down. And here's what I do. I just take my pan and I pinch. I go up. I come down. All right? And you're just getting that paper in nice and straight and smooth onto the wall. I'm always mixing my pan. This is another reason why you didn't see me mix the mud, because I'm going to be mixing it in the pan no matter what. So same technique, butt joint, lots of screws, doesn't really need the fibrous mesh. Put the pan down. Sometimes you can actually lay this out beforehand. I'm going to move the camera just slightly. And have things already cut and in place. And here we are. Now that's fully covering that, I'm going to Fill this. And so you can do several ways. You can just use the paper tape, or you can use this fibrous mesh tape, because like I said, this is a trailer and this is going to be a lot stronger. It's like putting rebar in concrete, but you're putting it into mud. It tears just like paper. So the way I did is I start in the middle and work my way out. And so that just, it's like butter, it just melts in to the mud. And so I'm gonna make sure I fill it nice. Cut that one. That's the only problem with the mesh tape, is it in the very beginning. Maybe I could just reuse one that fell. Just throw that in the corner, like how it was. There we go. A little bit missing there. I know it's yellow mud and it's got glue in it and it shrinks, but we're going to fill it nevertheless. Those bottom screws were a little bit missed, so I just filled them in just because. And once that's dry, there. That's the mesh. We have no more butt joints to do, so I'm actually just going to have the camera back here, and we're going to work from that corner. I don't need this. The goal is to get everything covered. So a bit of a screw extraction thing sticking out. I wonder if I move this back here, we catch. I guess we'll just go from this end. And you want to put this tape right in the center. And now I'm going to bring it into the corner. So I'm going to wipe this end. Actually, I'm going to wipe this end this way. This end this way. And then I'm going to bring the camera up close so you can see how this material actually melts into the mud. So we start in the middle, work my way out. Alright, now let's move this into the corner. And this way you can see how we've melted. And I'm going to bring this out slightly. Now, as it's going in, it's going to be a super strong joint. In a sense, this is almost like a first coat, doing it this way. And I don't know if you'll be able to see if I bring this up like that. See how you see the light going through the knife now? Now you're going to have less light because it's a little bit filled. That's our first fill technically. So our next coat is going to go right over that, and it's going to fill that space up until you don't see any more light. If you want to, you can try to fill it with more mud without taking more off. But that's, you see how it gets filled a little bit more, a little bit more. So that's all filled in. All those corners are connected. Now, I'm going to show you, I'm going to do it in two different ways. Here I'm going to do paper tape in the corner. So I'm going to show you how to do the paper tape in the corner. Some guys have flushers, all that kind of stuff, but you can use a bazooka. There's all kinds of things you can use. So here's what I do. If I'm using paper tape, because we also have a metal corner, which I never use. You're going to see that the first time here. I'm only using it because they already have it. And realistically, I kind of want to use it in this corner. But what I'll do is I'll just show you the paper tape and then I'll throw the metal corner over it after. So just make sure you got a good view. Alright, so here's what I do. Because I don't want to spend my time bending over and, you know, hurting myself, my back. I will unroll the paper tape, hold it with my foot, and just tear it. I don't have to measure anything. I know what you do. I don't need this roll anyways. I know what you do is you crease your corner, right? Nicely creased. Now you got your 90. Your 90's gonna sit in there. Oh, it's a little long. I cut it a little long, so I'm gonna shorten it. Is that good? Still a little long. It's touching the floor. Is that good? There. Perfect size. Now that it's creased, all I'm going to do is load the corner with mud. So that Confill is a little bit damp, but I put it on in a way that as it's drying, it's going to help this dry too. Because Confill is going to suck water out of the moisture out of anything. So we're filled. We can throw that on. All the way down. And you don't want to put too much, just enough to cover the tape. So a lot of tapers will only use this and not Confill, because Confill is a little expensive if you're all about making money, right? Which most people are. To me, I like to do a good job, so I don't care. I'm gonna load that corner, light skim of mine. Alright. Now, just to show you guys, just so you can see. You see how that's not too bad. This is a little too much mud here, but I know how to fix it. So just a nice little skim on there. A little skim of mud in there. You can almost put less than what I put. But if you're just starting out and you've never done this before, this is one way to do it. So now you take your corner and you're just going to place it in with your hand. Crease it all into the mud nicely, right? All the way down and up, making sure you get good contact. See, a lot of people will put stuff in here and then it'll just peel out, like you could peel it out like it went in. And the problem with that is there wasn't enough mud behind the paper. So now I will just follow my knife down the corner of one side. And this is creating the 90 we need. And if you got your milk crate like I do, you gotta be careful on these things. I'm a trained milk crate professional. Right? You don't want to stand on one side, you're going to break your ankle. So you got to be well planted on this thing. I don't need any mud. I'm just wiping up. And I'll use it like a ping pong paddle. One last. Boom. Look at that. Nice. Good contact. Check it out. See, all the way to the top, all the way to the bottom. Nice, smooth. You don't see a bunch of chicken scratches on the in the mud. Lots of points of sanding. You don't see any of that. So I'm just going to add this mud in to fill in my bubble. You don't need to do this. I do it just to eliminate steps, right? To go a little faster. Not just people think I'm slow in the comments while I'm teaching somebody. There. Done. So now we're going to show you how to do it with a metal corner. It isn't that much different. Now a key, when you're using the pan and stuff, you always want to, see how I'm running my knife? You always want to move the mud around so it doesn't dry, right? So then that way it doesn't dry and you don't get a bunch of clumps in your pan. That's one of the reasons why you see me moving all the mud. So one, it's keeping it mixed, right? We didn't mix this mud, but look at how smooth it is. We mixed it by hand. That's what we did. So I'm just basically, it's like dough. Everything's just, and you always want to keep your knife nice and clean by wiping it off in your pan. Another thing, you've got all these crusties. Now you don't have any. Same. Because if that gets in your mud, then that will limit how smooth your mud goes on. Okay, now, so this, using a metal corner, you're going to need a tape measure. So we got our tape measure, and we got our snips. So that's the other reason why I have this. This is your metal corner. I never use these. It's, oh, this one fits. We won't even have to cut it. So we don't need any of this. I thought it was like 8 feet, and I know this isn't 8 feet because I could touch the ceiling, but it's weird that they sell it in that length unless they were already cut in that length. This corner's a little damaged in the bottom. We're going to use that guy at the bottom. So, it's the exact same procedure. Since we don't have to cut it, usually what you would do is you would go through the steps of measuring to the top, and then this is 90, take a ½ inch off because you don't want the corner to be sitting on the ground. So same process. You just throw mud in there. Go up. obviously doing this in one fell swoop on how to do all this, because if you were to use a metal corner, you want to make sure all the corners are good. But I would stick with paper. But we're in a trailer, so there's chance of movement. Just gonna press that into the corner nice. And the exact same process as the regular paper tape. We're just going to push my milk crate in there. Again, always be careful on your milk crate. Oh, I don't need mud. I got mud already. There. Alright. Then I got a little bit of that paint chip stuff. So I'm just going to throw a coat of that on just to cover that paint chip where all this paint was torn out. We're just filling it slightly. And that can dry at the same time as everything else. Just because we're already here, we might as well build out what we can. There. Now, that corner is installed. Let's check it out. See, even all the confill, like we got a nice A nice finish. Nice and smooth. You know, even this would bother me, but I can scrape that off later. Now we're going to put in the tearaway strips. And we're going to put in these tearaway strips without glue. Some guys will go around, spray that top, then stick the strip in, staple it, right? Well, the only glue we're going to use is the glue that's in the mud to hold this on. So if you see a tearaway strip has this creased edge here. See that? See that little flap? That's the side that sticks out. There's a little ramp there that your knife is going to rest on. This piece slips in behind the drywall. So, since we've got a 10-footer, right, and I don't want a little tiny piece in the corner, I'm going to trim this just a little bit. Like, let's take off 2 feet. At least let's use the tape measure once. 2 feet. So we're going to take off 2 feet. Only because I don't want a little 6-inch piece. It's harder to make it work. We took off that much. So we're going to need to add that much. We're going to install this one and then I'm going to cut the difference. So now this particular setup, you want to put the mud in heavy. So we're going to take some more out of the box because our pan's almost empty, right? So I'm going to set up the camera so we get a better view going from that end to the other. So I'm literally just going to fill this guy. Okay, let's move it along a little bit more. Okay, now we got the tearaway strip, the mud on. is roughly how I applied it thick, in a sense, so you know why. So we've got it in there, pretty thick, right? There's a reason for that. You see these holes? You ever played with Play-Doh, right? So remember, the large edge is going in over top of the drywall. So let me throw you on here. That's hilarious. What you're gonna need one of the reasons why I like the milk crate. And having a belt and a bench to put stuff on. So the drywall width into the mud. You're just sliding it in over top. It's basically gonna cup the drywall like that. And if you don't want to get your hands completely dirty, you can just press it in like that. And as I go down, I'm literally just going to show you quickly what it looks like. You know what? I'll wait till we get to the other end. I'll wait till we get to this end. I'll show you exactly why we're doing this. Again, I'm not a professional fiddler or any of that. Screwed that up. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the camera on this end so you guys get a better view. Look at what we have so far, right to the corner. Tearaway strip still up there. So now, give you the angle of this. So if you put enough mud, when you go to press the tearaway strip in, it should squeeze out like Play-Doh, right? If you didn't put enough mud, you could always add some behind. For whatever reason, I know the ceiling is flexy. Why is it not sliding in? It should slide in. It's almost as if that plastic's bent. Let me see here. Oh my God, why is it not going in? What's behind there? I like how I'm doing a live and that's when this decides to do this. For whatever fucking reason. I can fit my knife in there. Plastic bent. Oh, now it slides in. For whatever reason, the plastic was getting hung up on it. So see how I'm pressing it in now, and all that mud is squeezing out, right? Check it out. See how the mud's squeezing out? Mud's squeezing out. And now that it's squeezed out, instead of using glue, just because glue is the cat's ass for sure. You could 100% glue this in place, but glue's not cheap, right? Glue is like $18 a can, or 20 or some shit like that. So this is just the alternative to that. So then, because there's like a little, don't drop your knife. It's the worst thing you can do. So straight. There's a little edge right here that you can rest your knife on. And that's what allows you to put it on smooth. You just fill it, clean up any excess off the wall. A little more right there. Okay, that's filled. Now we're gonna just cut our little strip here. Now, see me finish it. I don't even need a tape measure for this, right? Maybe just a milk crate. Made the mark. Oh, there it is. All right. So I'm just gonna trim it on a little bit of an angle like that. So none of it gets hung up on anything. We're going to do the exact same process. Just going to load it with mud. We just drop it in. Just press it into the mud so the mud's squeezing through. Right. Now that mud squeeze through nicely. Add a little more. I'm just going to feather out this bottom edge. Get rid of any crusties. Done. Now as that dries, alright, now as it dries, you're gonna have your first coat on and everything looks good going into the corner. Now, I have this one where the ceiling's a little tight. I'm gonna have a little bit of a headache there. So, that's where that RotoZip or the Flex zippy tool comes in. Oh look, the gorgeous animals. Like, when are we gonna go? You want to go outside, don't you? All right, I'll let you out. If you just wait till I'm done, we're gonna go for a walk, and you can come too at that point. Or you want to stay here? He's like, no, I want to leave. Why are we here still? No, okay, go lay down. Let me put this last piece up, okay? Let me put this piece up. So this is where that zippy tool comes in. Just because I know that this edge, I don't have enough room to slip that in up there or over here. So I'm just going to trim it a little bit. Just going to test it. Needs a little more. Okay, that's good to there. I'm going to do this corner. Alright. Really should fit nicely now. Check here. Basically good to that corner. Should be. Get to that corner. Perfect. Alright. So I'm going to set this up just over here so you guys can kind of get a good view of what's going on. And this one, I'm going to be a few inches shorter on the end here. So I'm going to cut off to there. No, I cut the corners back so when it goes into the corner, they don't butt into each other. So if I didn't put enough behind, I can just slide some behind like that. Then push it in, let it ooze out through the holes. Need a little more behind this one. Let it ooze out through the holes. And then just work. As we are getting closer to the end, let's just switch it up. Squish it in, let the mud ooze out. piece is gonna be long enough for there. I run it past. So 3 and 7. Want to bring it back. Let me grab my pencil here. That's where I want it to end up. So I'm just going to butt it to that mark. And so when I'm at the end or the corners, I'll cut them like this so that they don't like butt into each other in a way where it stops you from getting a nice finish. And then let's just get her done. There, good enough. Now we're done. First like kind of coat in a sense. I could right away start putting mud on these corners, but I'm gonna wait for this to dry. I gotta take my dog for a walk, and this is basically what we got finished. Let's give you a recap. So we did our mesh tape. We've coated our screws with Confill, filled all the cracks with Confill, filled all the damages with Confill, any damage with Confill. And everything's pretty much ready to have received tape. We put the tape on. We've put on the tearaway strip to the ceiling. So once this is finished, we'll just tear that little strip off. And you can always caulk against the ceiling, but this makes it easier for you to make a smooth seam at the top. So that's the whole point of all this. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching. Thank you for liking. Thank you for sharing and commenting. Look, the dog's like, we must be going for a walk by now, aren't we? I wanted to get this on before we went for the walk so it can dry. That's why he's upset we didn't go for our walk yet. So, let's read some of these. Oh my God, there's a lot of comments. Wow. We got Dun PJ. He's a butcher. We got Chosen One. Did you fart? That's probably the floor. when I step in this spot. One of those bolts didn't get screwed down. We're gonna have to crawl under the trailer to do that. Where do we go? Russell Dixon, do you make these studs? Do you make the studs guys fix their mistakes on the construction site? Well, I am the guy who did the studs. I am the guy who did the drywall. I am the guy who did the floor. I am the guy who reframed a bunch of stuff. I am the guy. I'm the guy that has done everything here. So, vapor barrier, tub installation, drywall, electrical, everything I've done. Okay, let's see what else we got here. And I guess to answer your question, do I make them fix their studs? Usually I would go through and do a check through, and then I would, before I started work, get them to fix it. But if I'm already doing it, I'm definitely going to just fix it and back charge them. Depends on how much damage. If it's a couple studs or screws, it's nothing crazy. Everyone needs to eat. Okay, we got Center Star 88. I might not be saying that right. They make it. It's a headboard, LOL. Or a headband. Oh, you're talking about the camera. Yeah. It's just getting the funding. That's a lot of money to be putting towards equipment. And I'm going to get more camera footage stuff and like stuff to make these videos better. But at this moment, if you want to make some donations, I'll be willing to accept them to buy more and better equipment to show you guys how to get this stuff done. All right, Lake Effect Blues. Holy screws. What do you mean? Yeah, on the exterior wall there's lots, but these ones, they only got a couple. Nothing crazy. You aren't a finisher. This is Devin Vitol 420. Did you drag that sheetrock home? I don't know what you mean by that. Is that where I got it from? No, I got it from a supplier and it was already kind of messed up. What else do we got? We got Malcolm Molivra 6171. I see a manger leaf. I don't know what that means. Big Al 1. You are going to use inverted bullnose on the corners. I'm only using it because they had it. What else do we got? Mobbin Hawberry said hi. Fork Face. That's a cool name. Fork Face. I like that. I'll laugh at that. Let's do the hillbilly. Morgan Forkface. Oh yeah, got a seamless pan and a 20-minute mud. I don't know what that means. We got Russell Dixon. Stan Marsh, stir that mud. If I was there, I would help. I'd appreciate it. Big Al 1, use the necessary power tools when working in the water to your need. Working in the water to your need. You're talking about mixing the Confil? Yeah, there's no power tools for that. Especially making small amounts, you have to do it with a small knife and a pan. That's the only way. Mixing, you get it everywhere. Fork Face, why am I watching this? I'm a badass drywaller. Maybe you learned something new. I don't know. Eureka 1947 says, hi. Eureka, Just get it done. Strip bullshitting. Stop bullshitting. I don't know what he's talking about. I obviously can't read this while I'm working. This is called pre-fill, but if you are using bullnose, I don't know what. Oh yeah, you're talking about maybe the California corner bullnose. Bullnose for corners recommended. You don't need to pre-fill. Yeah, we're not using any of that. Eureka 1947. Wrong, wrong, wrong. Everyone has their way. How's it going? We got Caveman Loves Smoke. 4394. How is he wrong, Eureka? Then we got Joe Up Yours 9708. Every chance you get, hurry up. Approved username. I might need more water. Big Al 1. Not tough for sanding. That's for sure. Yeah, I don't like sanding. That's why I do it. I make sure it goes on like it's a finished coat every time. That way it's clean and it's easy. Bro, if you didn't sand properly, we're not going to pay for this job. If you didn't sand properly, we're not going to pay for this job. He's probably right. That's what happens in most situations. They're not going to shrink. They always shrink. And you have bubbles in the screw holes. That's why you go over it twice. Yeah, but look, I'm going to show you guys. Look. How much shrinking? You think that's already hard, right? You are going to go over it again. It's just, you have to use less mud. That's all it is. Once you do it once with a confill, you got to use less mud. Okay, then we got King LOL, the Don Termina. I don't know. I'm tired too at the same time reading all this. Anything you got by stealing my plans, mine. I don't know what that means. Okay, then we got Joe Up Yours. How does that help anything? I don't know what he's talking about. Okay. Money, freedom, papers. And this is King LOL. Money, freedom, papers, and I'm going to need mine. My plans, my program, my business contracts, my lawsuit, my T-bill found, travel union, Okay, there's not much to read with King Lollipop, King LOL. Okay, Big Al, yeah, just a little more. Now go back over the rest. Okay, that was King Al. Then we got Up Yours, retracted. Up Yours. How does that help anything? Big Al 1. Where's your corners? And where's your corner channels? I don't know if he's talking about corner flushers. We'll get to that later. What kind of beer do you drink? I don't drink any. Up Yours. Break time. Should have been a while ago. Donnell. Gonna need a hell of a lot more mud. Yes, he's correct, but not a lot more. We're gonna need more mud for sure. Up Yours, Joe. Flat tapes, blocks, shims. Flat tape, blocks, skims. He's probably a mutter at some point here. King Ash, why is sheetrock on backwards? The fuck is he? There's no way. Sheetrock's never seen that before. What the F is going on here? I think King Ash has never seen sheetrock on properly then, if he thinks this is backwards. This is not backwards. This is the right way. We got Big Al. Are you going to use bullnose in the corners? No. It makes cleaning the walls easier if you install it as a stage of the game. First of all, I don't know what bullnoses you're talking about. Second of all, unless you're talking about corner flushers, that's the only thing I can think of. What else do we got? Deeper detecting. These names, deeper detecting. I'm looking deeper into the problems. Thumbs up, he says. So he gave a thumbs up for what I was originally asking to see if I had just enough Confil in the pan, which I had perfect amount. Didn't have to throw any away. Okay, again, why the F is it on backwards? Is there something I don't know about? Yeah, to put it on right. You don't know how to put it on right. Okay. Bang Slang 13. Hell nah. What do we got? Deeper detecting. For the screw holes, yes, but the cracks probably no. Maybe he's talking about the Confil. You definitely should put it in the screw holes. Every chance you get, hurry up. Up yours. Cat Wayne. No, nope. That's not enough. He didn't agree. He thought I would run out. It's perfect amount for when we were filling the cracks in the corner over there. Okay. Joey, up yours. That's he's using 15, 45, or 90-minute mud. No, I was using Confil only. It's 30 minutes. So it's in between the 15 and 45. King Ash, why the F is it backwards? Or do you know? I don't know what he's talking about. Anyways. Joey, up yours. It's a mirror image. It's not backwards. Joey, up yours. Is that milk crate rated for 300 pounds? We almost got the guess right. I'm curious if you guys could guess my weight. I used to be. There you go. Used to be 300. I could be either more or less. King Ash, in a small spec link that uses a plastic one instead of a metal one, cause that shit is making a hell of a lot more noise. Just saying. I don't like plastic tools. I don't work at Toys R Us. King Ash, and yes, it looks like shit. So it looks like shit. Sure, you already knew that. Thank you, Ash. Milk crates are rated at 250 pounds by Brad Pitbull. Oh, he's so close. He's so close to guessing the proper weight. Okay, Brad Pitbull. And drywallers make more than painters. Probably. Depends on how fast and how quick you are. Damn Mentink. God is this guy knows crud about drywalling. Oh my god, this guy knows crud about drywalling. This guy's trying to tell me I know nothing about drywalling. Maybe, are you saying it to another commenter? I don't know. Sam Veek. Hey, lad. Have a great time. Thank you, Sam. Brad Pitbull. You definitely don't want to see me do it. Damn Merkin? I don't know what that is. There's another one in a different language. Okay, Charlie. You're hired, but not for drywall work. Well, thanks. Don't want to be hired, though. I wouldn't hire this guy to build a fucking doghouse. Thank you. Thank you. Mood Mock. That corner works 7 times. You can do it. Something like that. Steven Conet. Happy face alarm. He's showering, then dirt. Oh my god, already. What the F? I just watched. I love doing mud. It's called perfectism. Bad work, bad pay. He also looks like he's working alone. Yeah, very observative. What did I just watch? Greased monkey. Looking good. My IP hurts. Hi, Grandpa. Then we got Grease Monkey. Making progress, I see. Thanks for all the comments. Thanks for liking. Thanks for sharing. Thanks for subscribing. And most of all, stay authentic, ladies and gentlemen. Till the next one, have a good night. Good day, I mean. Bye.